One of the things that I want to talk to you guys about on doing your contracts, put in time limits. Seller to respond within 48 hours or the contract's null and void. In conjunction with that, you got to make your clients aware and let them know that they're going to walk, that the contract is going to be void. So say, are you willing to walk away from this contract if the 48 hours passes and the seller doesn't accept it? Because a threat with no action does you no good. So
okay, now back in the old days in '05, I used to write that across the top. Is there a more professional way to do that? How do you
you write it in there?
All right, just write it right across the top?
Right, or right across the top or in other terms.
Okay.
Because usually where I put it would be in the other term section.
Gotcha.
Now on the, a couple of things to do on the contract to set yourself apart from other agents, and when you present your contract to the other agent, whether it's by email or fax, whatever, is to fill out every blank. Not applicable, cross out, because you have the ability in auto contract to cross out paragraphs that aren't. Are you okay, Kate?
I was saying you could look at the camera every once in a while.
Oh, well, this is my audience, and there's my audience too.
Hello, audience.
Right. Hello. So to make sure all the boxes are filled out, the paragraphs are crossed off that you aren't going to use and that aren't applicable, because we're seeing that a lot more, especially in leases where there's a military transfer clause in a lease, and somebody says, well, I'm not military, so why am I signing this part about the military transfer part? So anything that doesn't apply, cross off, and that way there's no confusion involved. Now, a couple of mistakes that I've been seeing on contracts from agents is when there's FHA financing involved in the contract, they're putting in seller subsidies in the conventional part, and they're putting in appraisal contingencies on this part. That doesn't apply. It's conventional financing, so make sure you don't check those boxes. Okay? And then on the Virginia jurisdictional addendum, it corresponds, and agents are going and they're putting in on the jurisdictional addendum a 15 or 20 or 25 day contingency on appraisal when it doesn't apply. On FHA and VA loans, there's no time limit associated with the appraisal contingency. And so don't check those boxes. Okay? That's pretty important. The other thing is on the HOA section where it says you're going to receive it electronically or in a hard copy form. Most of the time those boxes are not being filled out. So it automatically defaults to what?
On auto contract?
Hard copy.
Hard copy. Got to know the guy. Doesn't matter auto contract, zip forms, or whatever form you're using. The verbiage is the same. So if you don't click, it goes to hard copy. So if you want an electronic format, you got to click electronic format. Or if you want to let the other agent know, you definitely have to check that. Now, the other thing that's important to do, and it's always good to note, is on page 10 of the contract. Who fills out all the details on page 10 of the contract?
What's inside?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you got to do that. Because it all check marks. As far as
like
the attached addendums.
Right. We're not going to say whose contract this is, but
Oh, it's mine.
it's
That's all me.
what we can do. All right, right here, put in their license number.
And put in, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
what jurisdiction? Virginia, if they're Maryland, or
Okay.
whatever.
Why do you just put in their actual license?
That's what I would.
Why does that matter?
It
Just
is.
look better.
It's, just make sure that they are an agent, because what happened when the market was hot in 05 and 06, people would be writing contracts and they weren't licensed agents. So you want to make sure that it proves to them that you are a licensed agent, and then also you see that the other agent is licensed in Virginia. It could be a Maryland agent who's not licensed in Virginia, then they're conducting business unethically.
Gotcha.
So does everybody know where to get that information?
That's what I was going to ask.
Okay. If you get no. You get MRIS, you get their MRS ID number from MRIS, that number right there, and their ID number there. Get that just by doing a search under roster. And then if you go to Google and you do Virginia Real Estate Board, that'll bring up DPOR. You click on DPOR, and then you do regulant lookup or license lookup, and you put in their last name, you check over to the far right, real estate individual, and then you hit search, and it'll give you their license number. Now, I recommend you do that every time, regardless if you're the selling agent or the buying agent, because you want to know if the other agent is ethical or not, and if they had any violations against them. So you know what you're looking or what you're getting into with that particular agent. They've had violations in the past, and if they have cases open against them. So that's an important thing to do. Now, we've had 2 questions in the last week on the sale of home contingency. And are you guys familiar with the sale of home contingency and how it works? Okay. Good idea to read the contract and reread the contract and reread the contract again so that you guys are up to date with it. It's for everybody. Peter, why don't you explain it since you're the most familiar with it now?
Yeah, I guess I'm running into cases where people bought the properties before 2000, and especially in the condos, they're looking for another house, and it's not a short sale or foreclosure, so they kind of have the leverage to say, I got to find my next house first. And so you give them a specified amount of days. If the ratification day is July or June 5th, we said you have 25 days to find an appropriate new home. And what happened, and then you structure it also that the contingencies on the buyer end don't start till they found that home. So your buyer's not spending any money when the transaction won't close. So they had 25 days from June 5th to find an appropriate home. And they had to give us notice by 9 o'clock after 25 days that they did or they didn't find a new home. And the lady whiffed, and she never got me written notice. And she just called me and said what she thought they were going to do. And I said, well, just get me to me in writing. She never did, so now it's a mess.
Because of contingency, it
It's no,
expires at the deadline, and
right.
the contract remains in full force and effect.
And there's no, like, the financing and the appraisal, you have that 3 days where the seller has to do void.
Right.
And with this one, it's just cut and dried.
Right, unless you're given written notice, it stays in effect.
Yeah, and,
Right.
and
The contract
everything,
remains in full force and effect if they don't have a house. If they don't find a house, they can say, seller has not found a house and contract is hereby void.
Right.
and now.
Or they could ask for an
they're-
extension of that, an extension of
Right.
settlement date. They can, and then you can negotiate that at that
Yeah,
point.
it's like starting fresh.
Right.
So
But
they
it's
might be
really
homeless for a while.
well, that's the thing is now I guess with the amount of foreclosures and short sales, it comes up a lot more.
You think that as soon as those condo will appraise?
Yeah. I mean,
So it's
there's
definitely going to go through.
well, we'll see.
Right.
see.
You've got to phone to the broker. The other broker is a voicemail. Nobody answers the phone
Yeah.
at this office.
Yeah, I think I have his name now.
Okay.
She emailed me.
I was
But
going
it's,
to go online and find it. But
her excuse to me was